Hey guys, welcome to another Achieve More podcast. My name is Anthony. You can find me on YouTube at Picksburgh. Do a lot of cool videos where I travel with my fiance, and it's also the video home of the Achieve More podcast. So if you want to come see how handsome we are, that's where you get to come find it. Um, Also with me, as always, is my co-host Michael from Huddle Card Collection. How you doing today, brother?
Great. What's happening, Anthony? How are you?
Hey man, living the dream. Excited to do another one of these with you.
Yes, sir.
Guys, every single Wednesday evening, Michael does a live podcast that you can actually go and be a part of a live chat, ask questions. He talks about sports cards, eBay, collectibles, and all kinds of fun hobby related stuff. If you're into that, come over to Michael's channel and check out Collecting Profit on Wednesday evenings. Without further ado, though, I'm very excited to introduce our guest today. We have Arias WebsterBerry with us. And without further ado, sir, the floor is yours if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me, Anthony and Michael. Like you said, I'm Arias WebsterBerry. I am the CEO of WebsterBerry Marketing, Ignite Funnels, and I'm also the founder of Launch Ignition. I'm an author, a speaker, trainer. I like long walks on the beach. No, man, I'm a guy who is obsessed with marketing, obsessed with helping business owners scale to six figures and beyond.
That's awesome, man. What is it about marketing that you really like, and what made you dedicate a big portion of your life to it?
Um, it's really just the ability to create things, right? Just
Mm.
to come up with an idea in your head and then see it out in the world. And it started when I was young. As a kid, I kind of got into my first business, and then I think the first time I really got like this rush of realizing that things that I create could make an impact on the world was when I was doing a concert. I did a huge concert. I started in promotions, kind of in nightclubs, doing small parties in high school and college, and then I got into bigger. I got into the nightlife scene, and then eventually into small concerts, and then eventually festivals. Largest event being for 17,000 people,
Wow.
and I remember being on stage, right before the show started, and thinking, man, this was a conversation between me and one guy. And now this arena is filled with people. We've got Grammy Award winning artists backstage that they're waiting to see. And, this idea, this name, this theme, this whole thing, just half of it came out of my head. And I was like, that's amazing that you can, fabricate something out of thin air and it can move people.
Yeah, that's incredible. Typically, there's a segment we do towards the end of the podcast, but I think it's a good follow up question to what we're talking about. So I'm going to
Mhm.
skip ahead to a segment we call No Dumb Questions, where audience members send in questions for future guests. So the question we have this week, if you had to explain marketing for dummies, like if you've ever seen those books, like X, Y, and Z for Dummies, which you take something that's like really complex and you explain it to like a moron. So if
Mhm.
you had to explain marketing for dummies in an easy to understand way, how would you present it? Like to somebody that has no idea anything about marketing, um, how would you present it as something that is important?
It's actually funny you asked that. I actually tell my clients this all the time. Marketing is simply finding someone who has a problem and
Mhm.
explaining to them that you have the solution, right? And taking them step by step as easily as possible through how you get them from point A, I have a problem, to point B, my problem is solved. Hey, we're going to do one and then two and three, and then you're going to get A, B, C. That's how I explain it.
That's fantastic. That's super simple, straight to the point, finding the problem and bringing the answer. That's great. What was it that made you want to help other entrepreneurs?
I made a lot of mistakes when I first started. I wasted a lot of money. I I bet the farm, ended up homeless once. I just made an enormous amount of mistakes, and in, finally getting it right and finding some success, I figured it would be best for me to pass it on. And in doing that, we created a whole program called Launch Ignition, which helps entrepreneurs that are in their first 3 to 5 years and help them kind of get their idea out of their head and out into the market, or help them take their existing business and set it up to be properly scaled.
That's awesome.
So are there, obviously you deal with different businesses. Are there different, do you have to look at, is marketing the same no matter what type of business? Like, is there like a base that marketing, and then you build on that depending on the type of business? Like, does every business have the same, let's say, base marketing that you would do, and then you add to it? Or is it just the same no matter what it is, whether it's a guy with a donut shop or it's a guy putting on a music concert?
Funny enough, yeah, it is the same. A lot of times when I'm pitching larger clients, it never fails. I go into a boardroom with a whole bunch of guys in suits, and they've been in the industry for 40 years, or their grandfather started the company, and blah blah blah. And I come in and they're like, "What do you know about our industry?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And they're shocked because they expect me to be like, "No, but I've got all these charts, and I don't know anything about your business, but I do know marketing, and marketing is the same. I don't care if you're selling burgers and fries or if you're selling aircraft carriers, right?" Again, it is, do you have a problem? Can you articulate the problem that your customer is having? Do you know who your customer is? Can you clearly identify them? Do you have a space to go to be able to find a large pool of them? And then can you clearly communicate your solution? That's it. All of the other stuff is just, I don't want to say fluff, but I mean, essentially that's it, right? People are like, "Oh, should I be on YouTube? Should I start a blog? Do I need to do TikTok dances? Should I send out 1,000,000 emails?" All of those things are just traffic sources or marketing activities. But the baseline of what you do in marketing is the same no matter what you're selling.
That's interesting. Do you ever find that entrepreneurs struggle to find out who their target demographic should be in that regards when it comes to marketing?
Oh, absolutely. The reason being, none of them really pay attention or take the time to find them or to clearly define it. It's not hard to figure out who needs your stuff, right? If you're selling tampons, well, you're looking for women that are post-puberty, right? If you're selling tires, well, hopefully you're looking for a person who has a car. It's more of you taking the time to exclude people that wouldn't be your ideal target than it is hard to actually do.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, honestly, that's actually a little bit eye-opening too, because I always think of it from the, as somebody who doesn't quite do this for a living, like I kind of do this for fun, as a hobby, but I want to cast my net out there, but I don't think, hey, I should be targeting a certain, people group, or, take certain people out that might not have any interest in what I'm trying to, either sell or, promote content wise. So
Yeah, I always tell people, if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one, right? Nobody wants to feel like they're getting the one size fits all brand of anything, right? You're a Steelers fan, right? Nobody wears an NFL hat. It's like you have to kind of narrow it down, and part of good marketing is making sure that you know who you stand for and who you sit down for, right? This isn't for everyone. I make things specifically for that person, and when you do that, it makes it easier for you to create things that resonate with them, right? If you know that you're talking to a Steelers fan, or black and yellow is probably going to be your go-to, right? And if you show up with blue and silver, Cowboys fan over here, then you might offend a Steelers fan, right?
You guys beat us on my birthday this year. I'll have you know.
We get it right, every couple years.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
So
man.
tell me a little bit about Content Cannon.
Yeah. So Content Canon, man, to be honest, I never really thought that I would write a book. Um, one of my students in Launch Ignition, she is a publisher. She runs a publishing company. She's published thousands of books at this point. And she said, you absolutely love to talk. I said, yeah, I do actually. She said, well, you need to take all those words and put it in a book. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've always thought about writing a book, but, I'm busy. I have multiple companies. I don't have time. Blah, blah, blah is what she said. And she's like, I can get you a book written in 6 months. And I said, I said, so you're going to write it for me? She's like, oh, no, absolutely not. She says, I can help you write a book in 6 months. And I honestly, I didn't think that it was possible, but she was right. She was a tyrant. She put me on a very strict schedule. She had me writing every single day. But the way she did it made it easy to actually do. It was digestible. So Content Canon is a culmination of everything that we do for clients and what I've done personally in order to publish social media for my clients. We manage hundreds of social media accounts at this point. So, in doing that, we found some very efficient ways to make sure that we are creating content and publishing it for them. And Content Canon is that culmination. So it is essentially how you can generate 30 days worth of content for your business in one sitting or in one day.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a huge read for anybody that creates content. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, when it comes to creating content like that, what would be like, I don't want to give away too much from the book, but what would just be like a little taste of like a tip that you would give to somebody that, can help accelerate their content creation?
First tip would be buy the book.
Absolutely.
But no, seriously, you need to be deliberate about your content creation. A lot of people don't do it often enough because it takes a whole lot of time. And I'm not going to lie and say that I've got some magic bullet for that. It does take time. But if you approach it, one, deliberately, so you set a date and a time where you're going to set out a good chunk of time in order to do it and have a plan around what you're going to do. You don't just open up Canva and start firing off posts, or just grab your camera randomly and start talking to it. If you really sit down, map out what you're going to say, and you decide to do it all at once, kind of batch your content, it makes it way easier.
That makes a lot of sense.
How important is it to, use all the different types of social media in marketing, and not even just social media, but other types of media? Like, do you have to do Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook? I mean, how,
Not at all. Not at all. I actually advise my clients against that, because typically when you you put a lot of things on your plate, you very rarely get to them all. Right? Your eyes are typically bigger than your stomach. So I always recommend, hey, pick one, at the very most 2 platforms. Not that, well, this one's kind of or I'm going to contradict myself, but one that your target demographic lives on is probably the most important thing. But outside of that, the platform that you gravitate to most naturally. Up until a couple years ago, even though we've been doing this for several years, I never really thought about content as being fun. And if you're not having fun with the content that you're creating, then your audience can tell. right? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I don't care if you're in sports or, you are in finance and you analyze stocks and, or if you just make videos about cleaning your house, right? It needs to be something that you enjoy. You need to enjoy the process of creating the content. And if you do, it's going to come across that way and it's going to draw people in. And typically when you enjoy doing something, you do it more often. And when you do it more often, you get better at it, right? Practice makes perfect. So I would say, no, you definitely don't need to be on all platforms unless you have a massive team like I do. I've got like 4 people on my video editing team, and then I've got social media coordinators and graphic designers and project managers and all these different people, right? As well as videographers. So, barring having a massive team or having enough money to be able to hire one, pick one platform, plan your work your plan, and just have fun while you're creating it.
Yeah, it's great. Out of curiosity, with your team and the people that you recruit typically for your business as a CEO in this type of company, do you typically look for people that have like 4-year bachelor degrees, or does that not make a difference to you in terms of bringing people on for specific roles?
Um, it depends. So having a degree, if it's in the particular field, it does tell me, one, you have stick to itiveness. You have the ability to set a goal and hit it. Yeah, that's important. Most people that have degrees or applying for jobs, usually not in whatever they have their degree in, at least here in the States. So I'm more concerned with, can you do the work?
Uh-huh.
Right. Are you really good at what you do? I gave the speech yesterday. I just hired someone. I have 3 things, right? Timeliness, do you show up on time? Do you show up at all? Do you turn your work in on time or before time? And then communication. If something's going wrong, do you tell me early so we can get ahead of it? If there's something that you need or whatever, are you communicating well? And then the third thing is, are you good at what you do? Right. I always tell people, get caught trying. Even if you're not the best at it, get caught trying to do better, trying to solve the problem. So I'm more concerned with, are you good at what you do, good at communicating? Do you show up on time? And I'm typically looking for people to be, and this sounds vain, but I typically look for people to be about at least 70% as good as me. Right. Because I do literally every single thing in my business. There isn't anything in my business I can't do. I build apps, I do websites, I pick up a camera and I shoot, I edit, I do graphic design, I write scripts, I speak in front of the camera, I market, I sell, I don't care. Right.
Yep.
So I require them to be at least 70% as good as me. And then I give them the grace to grow into that additional 30%, over like 6 months to a year.
That makes a lot of sense. And that sets you up to have good employees too, if they're already at least 70% as good as you.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen some new hires come in like not even knowing, certain businesses that I've worked in. So that's definitely eye opening to kind of staff yourself strong up front like that. How important is it for you to use automation in this line of work and like AI and stuff like that?
We'd be dead if we didn't. We use automation in as many things as possible. I mean, we're literally building something to automate touch points with clients right now. So basically, we're building a series of forms that my team fills out in order to let customers know when we've done something, and it fires off a text and an email. And then if they don't respond or open it, well, it sends another one in order to make sure they look at the dang thing. So yeah, it's insanely important for us in dealing with clients, bringing in potential clients. We build all kinds of automated sequences and workflows for our clients in email automation, text automation, data capture, behavioral data from their websites, and social media ads, all that kind of stuff. So it's critical.
So in today's in today's day and age, we hear a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, and everything. in your field in marketing, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly, if it is fits in those three categories of AI?
Good, bad, and ugly. Well, the good is, I mean, it does everything, 1,000 times faster, right? Um, I was put in the thing I was just telling you about, this whole automated system to kind of communicate with customers. I sat down for like maybe 30 to 45 minutes and just had a whole conversation, like verbal conversation with it, kicking ideas back and forth as to how we were going to build this thing and some of the issues. And well, what about this? And well, what if I wanted it to blah, 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 and calculate da, 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 da? What would we do? And well, that doesn't seem like it would make sense. What do you think? Like literally asking, and it would, go back and forth.
Oh,
So,
wow.
in ideating, it's amazing, right? I've never had the ability to have kind of a second brain before the rise of generative AI. The bad is for the future generation. I think that a lot of them don't have too many brain cells to rub together already. I think it's going to get worse. You know, uh, truly. I mean, why would you? I mean, when what was it? Scientific calculators back in the day. When
Yeah.
scientific calculators came out, it was like, oh wow, great, less writing, right?
Mhm.
Now, you don't even have to know how to count in order to solve a math equation. So I think that's the bad part. The ugly, what a gnat. The ugly is there's a lot of people that are scamming people utilizing AI, right? You can build a business and put up a website and come up with copy that sounds like you know what you're doing, and all the automation, and you can push out messages to every corner of the internet with lightning speed. And our government, most governments have not solved that problem. There aren't enough safeguards. We don't know enough about it. And it's growing at breakneck speed. So it could be good. It could be bad. Well, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see.
For sure. Um, Out of curiosity, what are some ways marketing helps small businesses make more money?
Oh, I mean, in my field, it's the only way small businesses make any significant amount of money.
Mhm.
Um, it's never been a better time to be in business. It's never been a better time to start a business, be an entrepreneur. The internet allows you to connect with people all over the globe with the push of a button, or, spending $100, right? Um, so, marketing helps with reaching out to your customers and keeping you in constant communication. Marketing helps you get information back from your customers to figure out how to improve your product or service. Marketing helps you differentiate your business from your competition, right? It is truly um, that central hub that, if you do it properly, can create a lot of open road for your business and your family.
So if I have a small business and everything, and I'm considering saying, I'm not good at this stuff, and I'm not sure what to do and everything. Um, Me as the entrepreneur, what type of questions, if I'm going to start, let's say, for lack of better words, interviewing, marketing companies, what type of questions should a business ask a marketing company to make sure that they fit with that company, right? Because I'm assuming it's not just, I mean, yeah, it's a business thing, but there still has to be some kind of a fit between the two.
Yeah, and honestly, I a lot of my clients come to me with horror stories of other people that are quote unquote marketers, that they've had terrible experiences with. And I do think that sometimes you get bad actors, that just are out there scamming people. And I don't think that everybody is out to scam. I think they overpromise and underdeliver many times. But the other half of the equation is business owners or consumers not being properly educated and not setting proper expectations. So some of the simple questions are, the way we start all of our projects is, what's the definition of done? Once we get done, and what's the time frame, right? So if the time frame is the next 30 days, what is done in your book? And I was pitching a custom home builder maybe a couple weeks ago, and I asked some basic questions. Right, they're seeing some very serious issues. I said, "Hey, what are your goals, like your sales goals every month?" And they said, "Hey, we want to sell 30 houses." And I said, "Okay, so where are you guys at right now?" They said, "Oh, we're selling about 12 to 15." I said, "Okay, so you're at half or less of your goal." They said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, so what are you guys currently doing for marketing?" They said, "Oh, well, we're doing some social media stuff. We got some social media advertising going. We're doing some Facebook stuff. We're doing some ads on Google." I said, "Okay, great. So how much are you guys?" So I said, wait. So 30 houses. Okay. So how much is a house? They said, "Oh, like $500,000. I said, $500,000. 500,000 times 30 houses, that's $15 million a month. Okay. Then I said, "So how much are you guys spending on Facebook ads and Google ads?" And they said, "Oh, well, I think we're spending about 3,000 on Facebook ads. I think we're spending about 2,000 on Google ads." I said, "Huh." So let me just get this straight. So you're spending $5,000 a month on ads, but you're trying to make $15 million a month in sales. Is that about the gist of it? They said, "Yeah." I said, that doesn't sound like it makes any sense, right? Like if you told me I could give you $5,000 and you'd make me 15 million, you would literally have every single investor on the planet beating your door down. They'd be stalking you, right?
Right.
So it's one of those things where she said, "Yeah, when you say it that way, that doesn't make any sense." And I'm like, "Well, yeah." So that might be the issue that you're having, right? So it's about educating, it's about setting expectations, and it's about, coming to agreement with whoever your marketing team or marketer is about what is and isn't possible. The other thing is, when somebody comes to you and they tell you what the price is, "Hey, you want to make $15 million?" I told them straight up, "Hey, it's going to be like, to do that, you need to spend like 1.5 million, like 10% a month of 10% of whatever your projection is." And they said, "Oh shit. Um, okay. Yeah, nobody's ever brought that number in." Well, that's probably why you're not hitting your mark, right? Um, so, having that conversation, being real, and when someone tells you a number, don't freak out because it's way more than you thought it was going to be, right? You probably need to either adjust your expectations, or I also recommend that you get some competing bids, right? Get 2, 3, 4 people so you make sure you have a range and you understand if you're in the right market.
That makes a lot of sense. And a
Yeah.
lot of it's really eye-opening too. Like, because I never would have even thought, you need to come to roughly around 10% of your target goal or like whatever, you know what I mean? So that's useful information. Because I know a lot of people, especially small businesses, they're just trying to get, anybody to take a look at their stuff, you know what I mean? So like they might just be throwing that $5,000 out there thinking, hey, this is what I need to do, not really understanding, hey, I'm not casting a wide enough net to kind of reap back what I need. You know what I mean? Because this net's only big enough to get so many fish. So,
Yeah. And the other thing is, you know, when I say the definition of done, it's not always sales,
uh
right? So before you get to sales, most of the time you need leads. So
yeah,
maybe the definition of done is, hey, I need 100 leads because
Hmm.
I know that my close rate is 30%. So if you give me 100 leads and I pitch 100 people, well, that means I got 30 sales. Boom. Right.
Yeah.
So you really need to drill down on what is the thing that what are you paying them to do, right? Because a lot of marketers, they'll trick you and they'll say, oh, well, we're going to get you 100,000 likes. We got you likes. We got you some new followers. Hey, man, we got all these comments. All these people, they love this stuff we're making. It's like, well, who freaking cares about that? Like, am I going to pay my rent in likes? You know, like, so, really dial in on what it is that you're paying them for. Does the like translate to a lead? Does a lead turn into a sale? Right. So kind of dial that in and you'll be less disappointed at the end of the month.
That makes a lot of sense. Out of curiosity, as a professional marketer, what would be your advice into marketing this podcast or a podcast like this? Like, what type of avenues like would you suggest go through? Like that type of stuff.
I would probably say get great guests like me on,
That's
right, that are entertaining and smile and engaging, right? Uh,
You got that right. We've had,
you had a couple snoozers.
yeah.
No, I would say the biggest thing is posing questions to your audience, right? So one of the big things or big trends that we've seen is long form content is typically for the people that are, going to be with you long term. But trying to find those clippable or viral moments in the conversation that you can kind of shrink in order to hook them in, right? That's the key. You need to test those things, and you need to test the links of your clips. You need to test clips on different platforms. You need to check hashtags. You need to also get people like me to help you market it, right? Whoever's coming on, they should be, don't just show up and say hi and smile for the camera, right? Like, we're going to publish your stuff. So help us out, man. Like, tag it, repost it, comment, watch the freaking thing, you know, you know. Yeah, I would start there. And, and if you guys aren't building an email list, I don't know if you have one.
We don't. No, that's
You
just part.
Didn't even think about that.
You should start that tomorrow. I mean, yesterday or last year. Like you social media is your whenever your video is in line, right? You're competing with Taylor Swift and Beyonce and cat videos and girls shaking their butt and people slamming into walls in Ferraris, right? Your stuff is in that feed. And I mean, I like you guys, but chances are you're not going to win there, right?
100%
So when you get somebody who's interested, who really likes your stuff, you need to try to get them off the platform, right? You need to get their content information, get it somewhere where you can get to their phone directly, like get their phone number, get their email, and say, hey, I've got this crazy black guy, Arias, who's talking about, shaking butt and Taylor Swift. It's debuting tomorrow. You need to watch this. You're not going to believe what he said, right? That's a proactive way for you to be able to make sure that people that are really interested in your content don't forget about you, because it's easy, right? There's 1,000 other things. I think they said something like 1 billion videos uploaded to the internet every single day, right?
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody who's interested in your stuff, people that are commenting and stuff like that, make sure you get them off into a different platform. The best way to do that is to, like I said, pose those questions and get people that are commenting, reply to every single comment. And then you should be looking to figure out a way to get them off the platform to where you can get their information and send them a message.
Nice. Do you even normally reply to negative comments, like any kind of trollish type stuff, or
Depends on how much time I have.
Okay.
If I've got some time and I'm feeling a little I've had my coffee, I ate my Wheaties, absolutely, I'll go directly at them. Because here's the reality. And this is something I said in another podcast. You have to keep in mind that it's entertainment, right? And people love the drama. And the more, even if it's a negative comment, when you reply and they reply back and you reply back and blah, 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 the algorithm doesn't know that you guys are having a bout. All they know is there's a lot of comments on this video. Right. Usually you guys have 4 comments. Well, now you got 40. Something's going on with this thing. Right. So they're more likely to show it. But in doing that, you have to play your role and play the game, and don't let your feelings get involved into it. Right. Because that's how you end up, getting canceled. So, somebody wants to troll. By all means, you are making me money. You are bringing me attention. Yes, please. You're making me famous. You're doing this, and now someone else knows me that's in your sphere. Please troll me. I'm calling all trolls. Arias is here for it, right? Just make sure you don't get so sucked into it, because people are going to say nasty things. I mean, you court attention, you can't necessarily filter the attention that you get.
That makes a lot of sense. We have a final segment we like to do on the podcast. It's called We Have to Ask, but You Don't Have to Answer. Now, we've talked about a few things earlier in the podcast where you talked about some failures that you'd had, some setbacks. You struggled with some homelessness at one point. So our question for you is, what's the biggest failure you've had to date? And what did you learn from it that could be useful in helping somebody else?
Biggest failure. Before this business, before my agency, I had another company, and we specialized in Instagram marketing. And we jumped on a trend that was red hot. So it was called InstaFuel, and we were basically doing like a follow unfollow strategy with automation. So basically, we'd get access to your account. We'd get a list of maybe your biggest competitors, or a account that has a large amount of people that you want following you. And what we would do is we'd set this bot on it, and it would go through your account, and it would follow like 300-400 people in a day. Right. And then it would go to their profile, and it would like 3 different pictures. So to the person who sees it, it's like, oh, Anthony just followed me. Who's Anthony? Oh, and Anthony just liked 3 of my pictures. Interesting. Let me click on Anthony's profile. Right. Some people would like Anthony's profile, some wouldn't. Right. But the fact that you got them to click was the whole point. Right. You got yourself in front of more people. Once we figured that out, it was amazing. We got like 1,000 customers, charging them every single month. We're making money hand over fist. And then one rainy day, Instagram decided to change its algorithm. They changed their terms of service and basically said that what we were doing was wrong. And they put us out of business in like a week. Right.
Oh, wow.
It was terrible. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars that we were making. It was crazy. I thought my life was over. What I learned from that experience was that you need to make sure that you are looking towards the next thing. You need to diversify your offerings. I should have been looking at how we could do the same thing for Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn. We should have been offering them other services that were completely unrelated to social media, like email marketing or text marketing, blah, blah, blah. But we had found a eternal spring, so we thought, and we went deep and long on it, right? And that ended up being the wrong place. So I always say in business, when you find something good, you definitely need to save for a rainy day, and you need to make sure that you have shored up your income source, because eventually it never fails. I don't care how big the business is, someone comes along with a better way to do it. So you need to be ahead of the curve. You need to be keeping your ear to the streets. You need to understand what's happening to make sure that you don't end up getting sideswiped and put out of business.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Michael, before we let Arias go, do you have any final questions you'd like to ask him?
Yeah. For those that might be listening there and might be wondering, is marketing a long-term solution?
Oh, absolutely. It's the only long-term solution if you want to be in business. um, some people have legacy businesses. There's one or two people in your industry that, can do what you do. Um, that's a rare person. Most businesses need someone with their eye on how are we getting customers, how are we converting them, or how are we getting leads, how are we convert them into customers. Someone needs to be focused on the growth of the business, and marketing is that. If you do not have that person, if you don't have that in your plans, I don't care how rock solid you think your business is, eventually something's going to come along and prove you obsolete. And if you're not, because the thing with marketing is, it's about bringing in revenue and leads, but it's also about listening to your customers. If you're not reaching out to them, if you're not giving them the opportunity to communicate with them, you don't even know that someone is, down the street building something bigger, better, and faster.
Mm.
So, it's absolutely critical for any business that's trying to grow.
That's awesome.
And then as a then as a follow-up for those who might be listening and reach out and to you and stuff like that, do you guys offer, is there a, hey, we show you what to do, and then is there another component of we do it for you, with your company?
Yeah. So typically those that want us to show them are typically in their first 5 years. So Launch Ignition is great for that. Launchignition.ai is the website. We take people through a 9-step process that I've used in all of my companies. We use it today in every single thing that we build. We've taken 115 entrepreneurs through the program to date. We've done, and funny thing, we've done no marketing for this program. It's this is the most I've ever talked about it. It's all through referrals. It's just other people that have went through it, had a great experience, made some money, and they just refer, friends and family. So yeah, if you want us to kind of show you how and walk you through the process, Launch Ignition would definitely be the best option for you. The done for you, that's our agency, right? WebsterBerry Marketing. Like I said, we have a full staff. I think we have close to 20 employees now, and we've got, well, full time, and then we've got a lot of contractors and part time folks that do various things. So if you need social media management, so we manage all kinds of social media accounts. We do authority amplification. So we help them get listed in magazines and newspapers in their industry. We help you get on podcasts so you can be seen as the expert in your industry and a thought leader. We do social media advertising. If you need a new website, we build a lot of sales funnels for people. So an automated system to help you attract leads and convert them into customers. And everything else. You want us to build an app? Sure. You want us to do some graphic design? Awesome. You need us to edit a full feature movie? We can do that too. We haven't actually done it, but I know we can. So yeah, if you need a done for you solution, we are the one-stop shop.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Where can people find your website again?
We've got a few. So for Launch Ignition, that's www.launchignition.ai, not .com, .ai. You go there, you can book a call with me or my team, and we'll see if we can help. I don't say that we can help everyone because we're not for everyone, but sit and talk and see if we can. If you are in need of marketing, you've already kind of got the basics figured out. Well, WebsterBerry.com, just like you see on the screen, my last name, WebsterBerry.com. You can see some of our services, see some of our projects that we've done, some testimonials from customers. And again, you can set a meeting or, you can just pay us and we'll get to work. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
What about the book? Where's the book available?
So the book is on my personal site, ariaswebsterberry.com. If you click, I think it's author on there, you can get it, or you can go to Barnes and Noble. It's available in all Barnes and Noble. It's available on Amazon and actually basically every major book retailer.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you'd like to promote? Any social medias or anything like that?
I was like, I've already promoted a ton of stuff.
I like the opportunity,
Yeah. So, I mean, my personal Instagram, Arias Web, WEB. You can find me and all my exploits. I'm a avid traveler, so I'm usually in 3 or 4 different countries a year. But I am focused on WebsterBerry marketing right now. So if you follow our WebsterBerry marketing on any platform, we are going to be releasing a whole series on marketing, giving a ton of free stuff. I'm giving away free ebooks, tips, tricks, spreadsheets on how to track stuff. We're going to be giving away a ton of stuff. So yeah, go on any platform, look up WebsterBerry marketing.
That's really cool. I appreciate you coming on today. Michael says it every week, but the true thing is the one thing you can't ever get back is time. We appreciate you spending it with us today. Guys, make sure you go check out those websites. Go over to Michael's channel at Huddle Card Collection and check out Collecting Profit every Wednesday evening. And then come over to Picksburgh and check out some videos over there and see my exploits with my fiance when we travel around and do fun things. So until next week, guys, we thank you again for being with us, and may God bless you.
Thanks a lot, everybody.